Welcome. Today I'm going to show you some exercises that can help diastasis. I personally have a history of diastasis after my third child. I went to physical therapy for it. I got the clearance. I'm good to go. But sometimes when I'm doing some of the harder exercises and a lot of ab work, I still feel a little something. So I like to prepare my body before I do an ab workout with some of these exercises that I'm going to show you. This exercise should help to bring everything back to the midline to help support some of your ab work. So let's get started. All right, so this is a Yamuna Ball. You can get this on yamunausa.com underneath their equipment, the balls and equipment. I like to start at the spine. So you're just going to begin in the space between, it's basically lower back, in the space between the pelvis and the ribs. And just take a few deep breaths here. I like to imagine that the muscles that run along the sides of the spine, the erector muscles, are softening. Navel can pull in just a little bit to add some pressure. I also like to push with my feet, add some pressure into the back of the ball. So what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to take any tightness that might be pulling from the back and then through the waistline that could be taking away from the ability for you to connect in towards the midline of your body at the front of the abdominals. So by releasing any tight tissue, it frees up the fascia to be able to move and glide a little bit more and to activate the midline or center line of the body. All right, from here, you're going to pivot to one side. Now I'm going to move the ball. Right now I'm going to the right side of my spine. I'm going to avoid my low ribs, so I'm just going to move that ball down just a little bit. And the size of the length of everyone's waistline from the pelvis to the ribs are going to be a little bit different, but just make sure you avoid the low ribs. It's okay if the ball is slightly on the back of the pelvis. And don't underestimate the power of breath too. So focus on slow breathing, but make sure you feel that breath go into the pelvic floor, into the low back, into the waistline, almost like in a 360 three-dimensional way, all the way around. And then when you move it to the next spot, think about like if you were rolling out dough. You want to take the tissue and roll it. The ball is helping to push the tissue, and we're bringing it toward the midline. That's the direction that we're going. So now I'm going to rotate to the side. I'm just going to readjust on the mat here. And again, I'm focusing on my breathing. And you can do anywhere from 3 to 4 breath cycles, slow breath cycles, which would be about 15 to 30 seconds in each spot. And then I'm going to continue to roll it. So now I'm kind of in the right side belly, not quite yet at the belly button. And I like to imagine with every exhale, the ball sinks in. It's gathering the tissue and pushing it toward the midline. And then I'm just going to roll it right up against to the right side of the belly button now. So I'm not going on top of the belly button. I'm basically smushing the tissue right up against the right side of the belly button. I like to take a couple deep breaths. When you take that deep breath, the tissue has to go somewhere. It expands. So it helps to open up any tight tissue. We're trying to bring life and movement back into anything that gets tight. Good, and then we'll switch to the other side. You know, life in general can be, if you're stressed out, it creates tightness in the tissue. If you're standing all day, it can create tightness in the low back. Pregnancy can create tightness in the low back. I'm going to start right at the back of the spine once again, in the space between the pelvis, lumbar spine, in the space between the pelvis and the ribs. And if you tune in, by the way, right here, and your hands don't have to be here. They could be here as well, or here. So find a position that kind of works with you. You might be able to tune in and notice that the side that you rolled out feels a little bit more free or more lighter, more open. So I was saying there's various reasons for the body tightens, right? It could be postural, it could be stress, it could be sleep, nutrition, all of this stuff comes into play. But the most important thing is we try to combat that as much as we can, right? With movement, fascia release work, mindfulness, all of these things, making sure we're hydrating, getting good sleep, all of this stuff. And then we're gonna move the ball over to the side. But this is a nice physical thing that you can do. And at least I feel it. I feel the difference right away. I feel more relaxed through the core as far as like freedom of tissue, which allows me to activate if I'm going to be doing some strength work. We always want to find a good balance between flexible fascia that moves, but being strong too, right? We want to have this wonderful balance between flexibility and strength. And we're going to start to rotate. And again, I'm visualizing the tissue being pulled, like I'm rolling out that dough, right? The dough is coming with and wrapping around. Avoid the lower ribs. I'm taking a few low, deep breaths, which also helps the nervous system, right? Because there's more nerve endings in the lower lobes of the lungs to help activate the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the relaxed state. That's your healing state. It helps the fascia to not be tightly wound. And then you're going to rotate into the left side of the belly. As a fascial stretch therapist, when I cue people to breathe into certain areas, I can literally feel the tissue tightness melt away. It's just amazing. Imagine if we could take, you know how you feel when you're on vacation? that relaxed feeling of just being in the present moment, enjoying everything. Imagine if we could take that feeling and carry it over into our busy lives, right? If we could stay in the present moment, not stress, not worry, how much that would impact the state of your fascia, the state of how you feel, right? Mood, aches and pains, all of that. It's all connected. And then just continue to roll it into the side of the belly button. This is also great release work. If there's any hang-ups in the fascia around the organs, digestive system. I can feel a little bit of referral stuff happening. So I could probably go back and do a little work with this a little bit later. And then go ahead and come off of there. So that's a great routine. And then just take a moment maybe to lie on your back and just feel the difference, because it takes tension away from the lower back, releases it, and we have pulled that tissue. We have encouraged that tissue to come back to the midline of the body. And hopefully it just feels a little bit more free through there. And that way when you go ahead and do your abdominal work, you have a little bit more connection to the midline. Okay, I hope that helps. The next tool I want to show you how to use is the rapid release tool. Be Well My Body is now an affiliate, so you save 10% off of these tools. I'll include the link in the description, as well as I think the links are on my Instagram bio if you follow me on Instagram. Okay, so the rapid release tool I use if I'm in a pinch, so I don't have as much time to roll. It's also great because it has the vibrational component to this, which I think also can get a little bit deeper. So what I like to do is start at the low back, just like we did with the Yamuna Ball. And then I work in multiple directions. I can go up and down, I can go side to side, and then I start to work the tissue around. And you see I'm lengthening here. So I'm also trying to dig into the tissue in a lengthened state, which helps it to release even more. And I start to work my way in towards the belly button. I also like to include, it's so easy to include the hip here too, in case there's any tightness that's pulling down on the body. So I'm going to show you that. Here we go. So as you saw, I was kind of scooping and digging into the midline. Don't go directly on the center line of your abs. I like to scoop right up against it and kind of pressing that tissue in towards the midline to find that connection. But hopefully that helps and that'll support your ab work. Be well.